Hello everybody, I'm going to be talking about the EMCI, past, present and future. And this is a series of videos that we are broadcasting to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the founding of the Consortium of European Masters in Conference Interpreting, so the EMCI. So what is this? Well, it's a network of postgraduate interpreter training programs in higher education institutions. Actually, I say we're celebrating the 20th anniversary, but the 20th Jubilee had to be delayed due to the COVID pandemic, like so much else. But we are now happy to have at last the opportunity to celebrate this anniversary. Linked to this introduction, you will find a whole series of videos prepared by the EMCI member universities, in which they talk about the role played by the EMCI in the development of their own conference interpreting programs. So, how did the EMCI get started? It was in the late 1990s when it became clear that curricula for the training of conference interpreters needed to be harmonised at national and at EU level. And actually the initiative was taken back in 1997 by SCIC, which is the Joint Interpreting and Conference Service of the European Commission, together with the Directorate-General for Education. Why was this? Well, at this time, SCIC had discontinued its in-house interpreter training programme, but at the same time it was preparing for the 2004 enlargement and the ensuing recruitment of very many new interpreters. And SCIC realised that there was an acute shortage of highly qualified interpreters, particularly with the new and rarer language combinations. And the suggested solution was a European pilot project for the joint development of university programmes at advanced level. A working group was formed, and the working group developed a template for a European Masters. There were 8 universities participating at the time. And I should add, in the meantime, the interpreting service of the European Parliament had also become involved. An agreement to formally establish the EMCI Consortium was signed on May 30th, 2001, and this was at a ceremony hosted by the European Parliament. Later on, the EMCI was transformed into an international consortium, and work on this began in 2010. And it ended in 2012 with the signing of the new EMCI. As you can see, from the outset, there was close cooperation between the members of the working group and the institutional partners, the recruiters. The existing curricula in conference interpreting were reviewed, and a number of elements were agreed upon by all parties as being essential. And their validity was confirmed over time, and this led to a core curriculum, which balances key considerations from the professional side and the academic world. Now, these components are widely accepted today and even taken for granted, but at the time, their implementation in the universities was no easy task. So these components, the main ones, are as follows. First of all, there was the realization that consecutive and simultaneous interpreting are very complex skills, and that therefore teaching and training have to be carried out at postgraduate level. The prerequisite competencies for students were identified: an excellent command of the A language over a wide range of topics and registers, an in-depth knowledge of other working languages, including cultural knowledge, broad knowledge of international affairs, for instance. And this inventory helped to define standard procedures for entry exams. And the same was done for the graduation requirements and for final exams. It was also recognised, and this is really important, that trainers had to be experienced interpreters. Now, these guiding principles have since become the key building blocks of the EMCI curriculum, and have been a source of inspiration all over the world. The curriculum, as I said, was developed in consultation with the European institutions. And this link to the institutional interpreting environment has continued with virtual classes, study visits, pedagogical assistance, and of course the speech repository. Cooperation with DG SCIC for the European Commission and DG LINC for the European Parliament remains an integral part of EMCI activities. And this brings me to the present day. At present, the activities of the consortium aim at maintaining and promoting the high standards that have characterised the EMCI since its inception. But of course, all the while taking into account rapid developments in the profession. So this means ensuring a generally high level and comparable standards of conference interpreter training, disseminating good practices, recognising and accrediting new postgraduate training courses, promoting the use of technologies in CI training. The COVID pandemic really demonstrated how important it is to keep up with the rapid developments in the field of conference interpreting. The Nuremberg trials in a way marked a first revolution in our profession with the massive adoption following the trials of simultaneous interpreting. But the COVID pandemic marked, I think it's fair to say, a second revolution with widespread use of remote conference interpreting. And in this situation, the EMCI really came into its own, showing that it could be a major hub for discussing, examining and comparing solutions amongst member institutions and beyond. The EMCI organised demos and webinars to learn how to give classes remotely. Having a pool of resources to draw upon and a basis to compare results and experiences in this situation of crisis proved invaluable. The EMCI's activities actually cover a whole range of purposes, and one is key, and that is quality assessment. Each member of the EMCI is peer-reviewed every 4 years to ensure compliance with the quality standards. And to become a member of the consortium, the applicant institution undergoes a two-stage assessment process. There's an initial visit by someone sent by the EMCI during the academic year, and then attendance of at least 1 day of the final exams. There are other activities that aim at improving and broadening training opportunities for students. So these include bilateral virtual classes, of course the speech recordings for the speech repository, e-learning modules, and a yearly highlight for the students is the EMCI student meeting. This is a 3-day international mock conference where students from all over the EMCI countries and further can practice interpreting and build contacts for their future as professional interpreters. And the EMCI also offers trainers opportunities to bolster and share their teaching skills. For instance, a Training of Trainers workshop is held every year. The 2022 edition was entitled 2 Years Experience of Online Conference Interpreter Training, Taking Stock. The EMCI also carries out research, mostly in the form of questionnaire surveys on various aspects of interpreting, and it also carries out surveys of students' experiences. Recent examples of this research include surveys on online training experience and artificial intelligence and interpreting. And this brings me neatly to the future of the EMCI. The future will obviously present many challenges. Interpreter training needs to be resilient and versatile. Interpreting is increasingly in hybrid and remote modes. And so, of course, training institutions are going to have to offer specific classes to teach these. And the classes should, of course, be online. And the consortium will also need to follow vigilantly developments with artificial intelligence. Issues like auditory health and fatigue and stress are central concerns, and solutions need to be discussed frankly and thoroughly with future interpreters. They need to be taught how to protect their hearing and their health. In a market undergoing rapid change, students will also need much more guidance on how to run and promote their business, how to speak with clients and negotiate fees, or write a CV. The creation of the EMCI helped to bring together the expertise of the participating institutions. It helped them to optimise their use of resources in the delivery of their programmes thanks to transnational cooperation. Now, the EMCI will be facing many challenges in the near future, but we've seen that when forces combine, challenges are better tackled and solutions are easier to find. And this is why we sincerely hope that our consortium will keep attracting training programmes, because we're convinced that together we can contribute to the collective effort to improve the quality of conference interpreter training. Thank you very much.